We begin with the battle over voting rights in Washington. Exiled Texas lawmakers met with Senator Joe Manchin yesterday to demand action on voting rights legislation, but did not address the elephant in the room, the filibuster. White House correspondent Mary Alice Parks joins us now with more. All right, Texas Democrats say they intentionally did not bring up the filibuster with Senator Manchin. What's the strategy here?
Well, the big question is, what else can they lobby the White House to do? And you're right, filibuster reform is definitely the elephant in the room. But, you know, in your open there, you mentioned Congressman John Lewis, the late Congressman John Lewis. I think it's important to remember that we're coming up on the one-year anniversary of his death. He was obviously a civil rights icon. And just this week, President Biden said that what is happening right now in the states with Republican legislatures trying to put in new, more restrictive voting laws, he equated that to a new era of Jim Crow-style laws. So the question is, what now? Just a few stats. The Brennan Center says that 16 states in total have put in place 28 laws. So the president's not wrong when he's talking about this being kind of a coast-to-coast effort from Republicans to hamp down and to really, what they say is work on election security. What Democrats say is make it harder to vote. Now, the question of filibuster reform, like you mentioned, the votes, Democrats just do not have the votes right now in the Senate. We know that they have a 50-50 majority, the slimmest of slim majorities, and to pass any kind of big legislation like this, they would need Republicans on board, unless they in some way change those filibuster rules. So we're having this very interesting, nuanced conversation here in Washington about what kind of filibuster reform could the White House be considering, and would Democrats be willing to negotiate? We've seen members of Congress who are in favor of some filibuster reform talk about potentially a carve-out where only some bills that deal specifically with constitutional issues like voting would maybe fall under new parameters, would maybe change the filibuster to only need a 50% majority to deal with those kinds of issues. But right now, it's not clear that Democrats even have enough Democrats on board with any filibuster reform. So it's a very long way of talking about the fact that we just don't know. We just don't know yet what the president is going to do next in this fight that he says is so important.
Yeah, and it's very technical what you're talking about. Not everybody understands even the definition of a filibuster, but what they do understand is the pictures that they see. For example, Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, when she was arrested leading that voting rights protest, right, in the Senate office building, you know, you can't stop talking about these pictures and good kind of trouble, and you mentioned John Lewis. You know, where does this battle over this legislation stand now, and how far do you think this is going to go, and do you think you're going to see the drama and the pictures just increase as we move forward?
Well, that's the only thing that we've heard so far from the White House, that they want this kind of grassroots activism. And you're right, the picture there of Congresswoman Beatty, she's the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, being willing to get arrested there in the Senate office building over this debate. She's arguing for that kind of filibuster reform. She's saying change the rules in the Senate. Let this kind of legislation move forward. And she's willing, with her peers and other activists, to get arrested there this week. That's the kind of statement that the White House, I think, is really looking for at the grassroots level. The only thing we've heard from the president, the vice president, and their teams is that this will happen if there's mobilization from the ground up. Just today, the White House press secretary was pressed again, and she said that is how change happens in America. People in the streets, people take to the streets, they get involved, and they fight back. And I think that right now that's the leading message from this White House, is that they want activists and voters to push back against some of these new laws.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.